inside the spirit realm. How angels actually fight. Somewhere in your life, there is a moment you cannot explain. Maybe it was the crash that should have killed you, the diagnosis that reversed overnight, the decision you almost made that would have destroyed everything, and something stopped you. Some feeling, some voice, some force you couldn't name that grabbed you by the chest and said, "Not this way." You filed it away. You called it instinct. You called it luck. You moved on. But what if that moment wasn't luck? What if it was an intervention from a class of beings so terrifying, so saturated with power, that every single time one of them appears in Scripture, the first thing out of their mouth is the same 4 words? Do not be afraid. Think about that. Why would the opening line, the very first sentence from a heavenly messenger, always be, "Do not be afraid," unless the sight of them made fear completely unavoidable? These are not the creatures on your grandmother's Christmas ornaments. These are not the chubby-faced cherubs painted on cathedral ceilings. Those images were handed to you deliberately, because a watered-down angel cannot threaten anyone. A soft, harmless, decorative angel cannot make you understand what is actually happening around your life. But we are done with that. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, the prophet has a vision of angelic beings. He tries to describe what he sees. He compares them to lightning, to burning coals, to torches of fire. He says their movement is so fast it looks like flashes. He says the sound of their wings is like the sound of great rushing waters, like the voice of the Almighty, like the noise of a great army. A great army. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, the prophet sees beings called seraphim surrounding the throne of God, 6 wings each. Not decorative wings. Functional wings, 2 to fly, 2 to cover their faces because the glory is too intense even for them, and 2 to cover their feet in humility before what they are standing in front of. Isaiah, who is a prophet, a man who speaks for God, sees them and immediately collapses. He says, "Woe is me, for I am ruined. I am a man of unclean lips, a man who speaks to God regularly, a prophet." And the sight of these beings made him feel like he was about to die. Now, in the book of Revelation, chapter 10, John sees an angel coming down from heaven. He says the angel's face is like the sun. His legs are like pillars of fire. When he shouts, it sounds like the roar of 7 thunders at once. He has 1 foot on the sea and 1 foot on the land. This being is so enormous, so powerful, so saturated with the glory of God, that his voice sounds like 7 thunders simultaneously. And yet, and this is the part that should stop you cold, beings like this have been assigned to guard you. That is not a metaphor. That is the explicit claim of Psalm 91 verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways, not to observe you, not to report on you. The word in the Hebrew is shamar. It means to watch, to protect, to keep, to preserve. It is the same word used when God places the cherubim at the gate of Eden with a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. These beings guarded the most sacred object in the earliest world. And the same God who stationed them there has now stationed them around you. But why? Why would beings of this magnitude concern themselves with a single human life? The answer to that question unlocks everything else. Why you are worth fighting for. Here is something the enemy has worked very hard to make you forget. You are not an accident, not in the careless sense, not in the random, evolutionary, cosmological accident sense. You were spoken into being by the same voice that called galaxies into existence. You were fashioned by hands that shaped the mountains. You were breathed into by the same breath that animates all of creation, and you were made according to Scripture, in the image and likeness of God. That phrase, Imago Dei, is one of the most radical claims in all of human history. It means that something of God's own nature was placed inside you, something of His creativity, His dominion, His authority, His relational capacity, His ability to speak and create and change the world around Him that no other creature in the biblical account receives. This designation, not the Leviathan, not the angels themselves. Only human beings bear the image of God, and this matters enormously, because it means that your destruction is not just the elimination of one life. It is an assault on the image of God. It is an act of war against the representation of the Creator. This is why the enemy wants you broken, confused, ashamed, silent, isolated, medicated into numbness, not because you are ordinary, but because you are extraordinary, and He knows it, even when you don't. The Apostle Paul writes in Ephesians chapter 3 that the church, the people of God, ordinary humans filled with the Spirit, is meant to make known the manifold wisdom of God to the principalities and powers in heavenly places. Your life, your healing, your redemption, your breakthrough, your testimony is meant to be a declaration to the entire spiritual realm, a living announcement that God's wisdom is greater than the enemy's strategy, that what was meant to destroy you became the very thing that displayed God's glory. You are not just a person trying to get through the week. You are a message being broadcast into the spirit realm, and the content of that message determines whether heaven advances or retreats in the territory around you. The angels know this. That is why they fight so hard, and the enemy knows this too, which is why he fights just as hard in the opposite direction. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because if we are going to talk honestly about how angels fight for you, we have to talk about what exactly they are fighting. Most people have a vague sense that evil exists, that there is darkness in the world, but they think of it the way they think of weather, something ambient, impersonal, without intelligence or direction. The New Testament refuses that comfort. Paul writes in Ephesians chapter 6, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." Rulers, authorities, powers, forces, these are not poetic abstractions. These are organizational terms, chain of command terms. These describe a hierarchy, a structured, ranked, coordinated system of opposition. The word translated rulers in the Greek is archai, from which we get the word archangel. It denotes beings of the highest rank. The word for authorities is exousiai, beings with delegated power and jurisdiction. Powers of this dark world refers to the cosmic forces that operate in the darkness of this present age, and spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. That phrase alone should stop us. In heavenly realms, not just on earth, these things operate in the spiritual dimensions that overlap our own.
Hear my prayer, O celestial beings. Open the gates of heaven. Let your light descend.
It has a command structure. It has territorial jurisdiction. It has assigned targets. It has strategic objectives. It is not random. It is not careless. It is not improvised, and its primary mission from the very beginning has been to steal, kill, and destroy. Not just destroy bodies, destroy destinies, destroy identities, destroy families, destroy generations, make people small enough, confused enough, broken enough, that they never become what they were made to be. The book of Daniel gives us one of the clearest glimpses of how this works. In chapter 10, Daniel has been fasting and praying for 3 weeks. He is in grief over a vision he received about the future of his people. He wants understanding. He wants God to speak. And for 21 days, nothing. Silence, darkness. The heaven above him feels like iron, and then an angel appears. And what the angel says when you really hear it is one of the most astonishing things in all of Scripture. He says, "Daniel, do not be afraid. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them." The prayer was answered on day 1, but the angel did not arrive until day 21. Why? But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. There was a battle, a pitched, prolonged, contested spiritual battle happening in the heavenly realms directly above Daniel for 3 weeks. The answer was dispatched immediately. The messenger was opposed. The delivery was contested. Daniel had no idea any of this was happening. He was on earth, fasting, praying, weeping, wondering if God had forgotten him, while in the invisible realm above him, a war was being fought over the words he had prayed on day 1. How many of your prayers are in transit right now? How many answers have been dispatched and are being contested in the unseen, while you sit in your silence wondering if God is even listening? Heaven is not a democracy. It is a kingdom, and like all kingdoms, it has structure.